Shocker! You can't escape me! I'll chase you to the ends of the earth!
Amazing Spider-Man 2 was intended to introduce the character of Mary Jane Watson, a longtime love and eventual wife of Peter Parker in the comics. She was going to be played by Shailene Woodley from the Divergent fame. However, by the time of the film's release, it was already announced that her entire role was cut from the final film. Director Mark Webb talked about the removal of the character from the film and had this to say. There was one little scene at the beginning where she is next door, and it took place right around the montage where he comes back. And there was another little moment between Gwen and MJ. But it just tipped over. The relationship between Peter and Gwen is so sacred and so powerful that it just didn't feel right. And it sucks because Shailene is such a fucking great actress and so cool and magical, but it was just about having this obligation to this romance that I thought was so sacred. It was just one of those things, unfortunately. These scenes were excluded from the Blu-ray release of the film, and no actual footage of these deleted Mary Jane scenes is available. The only clue to involvement other than set pictures is a recording of B-roll of 3 scenes involving Woodley. The first scene looks to take place during the opening of the film when Spider-Man is swinging around the city to stop a robbery in progress. It's a small scene but will give context to the relationship between Peter and Mary Jane before they ever truly met. Going by the context of the attire from the footage of the behind the scenes filming, this scene would have taken place sometime after the first meeting of Spider-Man and Electro, where Peter is working on updating his webbing. MJ rolls up on her motorcycle and meets Peter for the first time as his new neighbor, causing Peter to be instantly smitten. The third scene shows the two infamous loves of Peter Parker's life come together to meet when Gwen Stacy shows up at Peter's house and finds MJ. By the context of the footage, this scene was possibly meant to happen sometime near the end of the film, when Gwen is on her way to leave for school and looking to say goodbye to Peter for one last time. SpiderMan 4 was the name of both a cancelled 4th entry in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy and a cancelled video game created to coincide with the movie's release. Tobey Maguire would most likely have returned for the role of Spider-Man and Peter Parker for both the movie and the video game, considering the fact that he was in the previous games. The game would have featured an open-world hub based in New York City for players to swing around. The Daily Bugle building would have also been present in the game, however it is unknown if it would have been a level or used for cutscenes. The game would have possibly featured crimes and collectibles in the New York hub, with evidence of this is the minimap and the fact that both previous games based on movies and original games featured collectibles and side missions as bonuses. The movie was cancelled due to the fact that Sam Raimi did not think that he could make the movie in time for summer while making sure that it was still creative. Because of the fact that the game was based on the movie, it was cancelled. According to Wayne Dalton, elements of the game were recycled into the game Prototype 2, largely because of the detailed New York City model that they already created. This also tells us that the studio behind the game was Radical Entertainment. Besides a few in-game screenshots and limited information, on November 30th, 2019, a YouTuber Hard4Games uploaded a video featuring gameplay and a debug menu of the unreleased Wii version of the game. The game was uploaded onto the Internet Archive by this hacker the next day. However, the screenshots of the game uploaded by Wayne Dalton are from a different version of the game. Evidence for this is that there is a different model used for Spider-Man and a different HUD. It is unknown how many other versions of the game exist. However, on September 11th, 2021, the Xbox 360 version of the game was leaked by obscure gamers.
Yo, Dave, you ain't gonna believe this, man. Spidey, yeah, over here. Spider-Man, Spidey. Right. Oh my God. Spidey, hey, I lost my water. You to do back. You see it? Let me know, man. Yo, it's the Spidey. Yo, Spidey.
Josh Keaton, who is known for voicing Spider-Man in TV shows and previous Spider-Man games, was originally cast as the title character before Tobey Maguire agreed to reprise his role for the game. Keaton's original audio as Spider-Man has remained lost to the public, but some of his Spider-Man lines were reused when Keaton was cast as Harry Osborn in an unlockable version of the game where the player can play as the Green Goblin. Spider-Man and Harry Osborn sometimes use the same lines and phrases throughout the levels of the game, particularly while fighting enemies.
Come on, freak. You need to learn a lesson, and Shocker's School of Hard Knocks is now open.
Oh, give me a break, Shock. I can't believe you have any class, let alone a whole school worth.
Come on, freak. You need to learn a lesson, and Shocker's School of Hard Knocks is now open.
Give me a break, Shock. I can't believe you have any class, let alone a whole school worth.
On May 20th, 2018, a video from YouTuber Jay Grutiano showcased lines that Josh Keaton performed as the Green Goblin. But unknown to most people, snippets of Josh Keaton's performance as Spider-Man can be heard as well.
Oh, Uncle Ben. Nothing could ever fill the hole left when he died. Those wounds never really heal. The beautiful redhead is Mary Jane Watson. The guy is Harry Osborn, my best friend. They stuck with me after Uncle Ben died. Harry's dad Norman was great too. He even let Harry and me stay in one of the apartments he owned after we graduated and moved to the city. I got a job with the Daily Bugle taking pictures of myself. Life sure is strange sometimes. No matter how much you want to hold on to a moment, you can't stop time from moving on.
Oh god, he won't shut up about his movie. 6 months, Spider-Man! Spider-Man the Venom Factor was to be a sequel to the 1996 PC game Spider-Man the Sinister Six. It was going to be published by Byron Press Multimedia and developed by Brooklyn Multimedia. Spider-Man the Sinister Six was a choose-your-own adventure style game with action boss battle and puzzle segments. It's likely this sequel was to follow roughly the same formula of gameplay. Visually, its predecessor was a blend of 3D background elements with 2D drawn characters, but Spider-Man the Venom Factor looked to entirely use 3D characters and 3D backgrounds. The archive website for Spider-Man the Sinister Six lists that a sequel was on the way called Spider-Man the Venom Factor, and nothing more was thought to be known of the game until the archive website of developer Sapphire was seen to be listing Spider-Man the Venom Factor amongst its completed games. Sapphire shared a screen from the game as well as a sample of an animated cutscene from the game with Spider-Man hiding from a symbiote creature in a lab setting. Spider-Man the Venom Factor was to be based on a novel of the same name written by Diane Duane and published by Byron Press. The story goes that there is a venom-like creature on the loose that accidentally murders a man in its pursuit of consuming radioactive materials. Venom doesn't kill innocents, so Spider-Man must help Venom clear his name. The Hobgoblin is stealing radioactive parts, putting him right in the path of the venom-like creature as well as Spider-Man and Venom. The novel was the first installment in a trilogy of books with Spider-Man and Venom. It featured the Hobgoblin, who was shown to be part of the game from the title screen. The other 2 novels in the trilogy featured the Lizard and Dr. Octopus, but there's nothing to suggest that they were part of this game with all present knowledge. It is not known why the game wasn't released or if it was truly as far along in development as Sapphire's website claimed it was. But on the page of Computer Gaming World 154, there's information that the game was supposed to be released in the fall of 1997.
Hey, Electro! Who's got the power now?
Spider-Man 2 Enter Electro, though originally released on August 26, 2001, the game was pulled from stores following the September 11th attacks and was re-released on October 19th of the same year with various changes made. Though many changes were made to the re-release, the most significant alteration involved the final battle with Electro. In the original version, this fight was set atop the World Trade Center, whilst in the re-release the building was no longer referred to by name, and the level geometry was changed to add a bridge between the 2 buildings so that they no longer resembled the Twin Towers. Some have noticed that this change actually made the battle easier, and it reduced the risk of falling off. Other adjustments included dialogue changes. For instance, the original version had Electro foreshadow the battle by saying he would be on top of the world.
Where would you go to be on top of the world? I'm coming, Electro. Your power play ends tonight.
Which led Spider-Man to deduce the location of the fight. This line and any references to it were removed, creating a good old plot hole. Other cutscenes were removed as well, such as a flyover shot of the Twin Towers. The last of the changes involved retitling some of the levels. Crash Flight became Wind Tunnel, Downward Spiral became the Corkscrew, Aces High became the Gauntlet, and the final battle was changed from Top of the World to the Best Laid Plans. For a long time, gameplay footage of the pre-9/11 version had circulated on the internet, but no ROM images had. However, on May 28, 2015, a YouTuber by the name of ElPhysioGamer posted a video of the final battle from the original version, with a functioning download of the game linked in the description. The game file will be in the description below for you to download yourself. And on the 25th of December 2017, another user by the name of PaulWee71 on the website Hidden Palace also dumped a copy of the pre-9/11 version of the game. However, this copy was slightly different from the one that ElPhysioGamer dumped, as this one was an NTSC version instead of a PAL version. This file will also be in the description below for you to download yourself once again. SpiderMan Safety series is a line of direct-to-video animated educational tapes by Cornell MIT Film and Video that were distributed by the Learning Company. Released in 1990, 4 separate videotapes were produced: Don't Hide Abuse, Smart Kids Play It Safe, What to Do About Drugs, and Where Do You Go for Help. Created to be run in an elementary classroom setting, each copy came with a lesson plan for teachers to instruct their students with after watching. The tape release has long gone out of print, and due to being sold exclusively to schools, copies are difficult to obtain. 2 out of the 4 episodes, Don't Hide Abuse and What to Do About Drugs, have been uploaded online, but no footage exists for the other 2. An official re-release is unlikely, as it would have to be cleared by Disney themselves. Lost Media Wiki user Rogue Knight contacted the publisher of these videos and got this message in return. We received your letter and did some research. It looks like Phoenix distributed these for a while and then withdrawn them. These were produced by LCA as the SpiderMan Safety series, and most LCA titles including these were acquired by Fox, which then licensed them back to Phoenix. The Fox contract shows that Fox rights were due to expire in 2005. Since we never heard whether Fox renewed those rights, we don't know the current status. The contract also shows that all distribution is subject to underlying rights belonging to Marvel. Your letter stated that there were 3 episodes when in fact there were 4. You overlooked Where Do You Go for Help. We have many tapes, not all of which are fully documented. That is a project I am working on presently. If I come across these, I will let you know. However, I suggest you try Fox first. Don't Hide Abuse. The SpiderMan video addresses the issue of physical abuse. Maria, a young elementary student, is afraid to tell anyone that her father physically abuses her. Her friends become suspicious of her bruises and they ask Spider-Man to help out. Spider-Man is able to give the children advice, and eventually Maria tells her secret to a trusted adult. Smart Kids Play It Safe. In this video, Spider-Man invites viewers to follow his friends EJ, Timmy, Maria, and Jason on their way home from elementary school and discover how they handle the secret safety tests he has arranged. Spider-Man's friends prove they are responsible for following the 7 safety rules he has taught them. Spider-Man Smart Kids Play It Safe is a children's safety guide about walking home from school and being home alone. This program is fully animated with a multicultural cast of characters. What to Do About Drugs. When Timmy, an elementary school student, is offered drugs by 2 very persuasive older boys, his friends enlist the help of Spider-Man to teach him about drugs and making good decisions. Where Do You Go for Help? Little is known about Where Do You Go for Help. There is a listing that hints that it's in possession of the New York State Library on their site. SpiderMan the New Animated Series was heavily influenced by the Ultimate Spider-Man comic books by Brian Michael Bendis and Mark Bagley, but its production soon became impacted by the success of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie. At this point, the 3 parties involved in the series, which are Sony, Marvel, and MTV, requested it will also be a follow-up to the popular film. These periods of deliberation between the executives from those 3 sides caused production on the series to greatly slow, and as a result, an entire storyboarded episode was tossed away in the shuffle of priorities. Storyboard artist Tim Eldred explains on his blog, "As an immediate consequence, one entire episode that had been completely boarded was scrapped, never to be seen by anyone. I wish I kept that board, because it would have been a real jewel to share with you now." Not much is known of what the scrap episode's plot was about, except for it involving the characters of Geldof and the Morlocks. A character in the Ultimate Spider-Man comic books exists similar called Geldof, who was genetically experimented on to have mutant-like powers resulting in abilities to discharge energy that causes explosions. Mr. Bendis was also working on SpiderMan the New Animated Series when he was writing the popular Ultimate Spider-Man comics, so it is thought that he may pitch an idea for the character when working on the show and carried something similar back to his comics after the episode didn't materialize. There exists concept art for the shows Geldof and Morlocks dated April 2002, and the first appearance of Geldof in the Ultimate Spider-Man comics is issue 40, cover dated July 2003. The concept of the Morlocks in Marvel Comics is typically associated with the X-Men as mutant groups who are outcasts from society and dwell in the sewers. It's possible that Geldof in the episode could have been the leader of a gang of outcast mutants. The Geldof and Morlock characters went through many design iterations, which can be seen on the bonus features of the SpiderMan the New Animated Series complete first season DVD set through April of 2002 until they were cut right after the theatrical Spider-Man movie released. None of the completed storyboards or any other production material for the episode have surfaced to date. The Unmaking of SpiderMan is an unreleased 2014 American documentary film talking about the troubled production of the Broadway musical Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark, from the perspective of Jacob Cole, a filmmaker and the son of the musical's producer, Michael Cole. It is similar in nature to The Sweatbox, the documentary talking about the troubled production of The Emperor's New Groove from the perspective of Trudy Styler, a filmmaker and the wife of New Groove's composer, Sting. And just like The Sweatbox, the Unmaking of SpiderMan has been buried since its completion, though the Sweatbox did eventually leak online. The existence of the Unmaking of SpiderMan was confirmed in the 2014 book, Song of Spider-Man, which documents the production of Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark from the perspective of the musical's librettist, Glenn Berger. A clip from the documentary has been posted online, which was posted by Turn Off the Dark Archive on 29th of May, 2023. Bruce Cardozo had long been fascinated by the challenges of producing believable superhero films and made several well-received amateur forays into the genre. Upon entering NYU in 1972, he proposed his latest idea as an experimental project for his film class. They would attempt to create a 16mm full-color 30-minute Spider-Man movie, so faithful to both the character and story that audiences would feel as though they were looking at the comic book come to life. Many of his classmates were skeptical, but his instructor agreed to let the film shoot proceed. By all accounts, the production team showed great care and creativity in enacting Cardozo's vision on a shoestring budget. Pre-production reportedly extended over a year or more. After a long search, Joel Ellison was cast as Spider's alter ego, Peter Parker, with Richard Eberhard playing him while in costume. Andrew Pastorio played Parker's boss, Daily Bugle editor J. Jonah Jameson. It is unknown who played Kraven the Hunter or any other characters. Costumes were created by Daphne Stevens and Marilyn Hecht, inspired by the iconic artwork of Spider-Man co-creator Steve Ditko. Graphics were designed by Richard Eberhard and included such obscure details such as the spider signal, a device that the web-slinger used very early in his career to project his image as a warning. The film also reportedly used innovative lighting effects created by Art Schweitzer, and instead of using static backgrounds, implemented many traveling matte shots of New York elements, including a neon-lit Times Square, to simulate the effect of Spider-Man swinging through the city. There were also large building sections built and laid horizontal to simulate Spider-Man climbing up walls. Throughout the production, Cardozo was greatly encouraged by ongoing, if still very unofficial, support from the Marvel Comics team, which ran a glowing profile on the project in their self-published foam fanzine. This support evidently saw the film through to completion at least. The plot of the comic book storyline begins with Spider-Man defeating a gang of thugs. One escapes and turns out to be the recurring villain, Chameleon, who in turn calls on his half-brother, Kraven the Hunter. This renowned warrior is intrigued by the idea of adding the notoriously elusive Spidey to his trophies and agrees to track him down. The hunt ends up in a final battle where Spider-Man must fight through numerous tricks and traps to defeat Kraven in hand-to-hand combat. The film reportedly sticks very close to this basic story, but apparently removes Chameleon and adds Peter Parker's girlfriend, Gwen Stacy, who had since become a popular supporting character in the comics. The film's finale also seems to have added tigers to Kraven's arsenal. Initial plans were to distribute Spider-Man vs. Kraven the Hunter commercially, but at some point shortly after filming wrapped, Cardozo abandoned the idea, reportedly upon finding out that Lee and Co.'s support did not extend to basically giving away the rights to the most popular character. Evidently frustrated over having poured so much effort into a seemingly dead end, Cardozo lost interest in the project. Over the subsequent years, he was persuaded to hold screenings of the finished film only occasionally at comic book conventions, beginning with Marvel's second annual comics convention in 1976. The last known screening of the film was at the Comic Book and Science Fiction Convention in Los Angeles in 2005. As the years passed, Cardozo and team continued to guard their creation closely, for reasons that became and remain increasingly unclear. In 2004, Dan Poole, director of the 1992 fan-made project The Green Goblin's Last Stand, emailed Cardozo asking if he could have a copy of the earlier film. Cardozo refused to send a video file online, but he said he would happily screen it personally at his home in California if anyone desired. Cardozo would go on to work as a visual effects artist from 1980 until his death in 2015. Included on his resumes, he would go uncredited in films such as The Avengers, Captain America the First Avenger, and Star Wars Episode V The Empire Strikes Back. Despite renewed interest on the back of Spider-Man's great mainstream film success, this one is currently lost, with only a few mostly behind-the-scenes screenshots still in circulation. Unlike many other fan productions, it has never surfaced as a bootleg at comic book conventions or online, and no one besides its creator has ever claimed to have a personal copy. Given that Cardozo's personal computer believed to have held his only copy of the film was reported destroyed, and with so little information available on who else was involved in the project, it seems increasingly unlikely that it will be found.